don't always work. Use of marijuana and cocaine among American teens has stabilized, but ecstasy use is soaring. Among those surfing the waves of sound at this rave, James.
There is something truly powerful about being in a group of people that move to the same rhythm.
James is a veteran of the rave scene. For him, the experience goes deeper than the drug.
I work in Georgetown in Washington, D.C. at a store/website that specializes in dance music for DJs. Primarily, we sell vinyl records.
James is a DJ and music producer.
Music is my life. It's really the central focus of almost everything I do. If I'm not at my job figuring out how to tell people about this music, I'm at home figuring out how to make my own music evolve.
Long before his first ecstasy experience, James weighed the pros and cons of the drug many users call E. He'd been raving for 6 years.
The ecstasy, it was an unknown quantity, and I knew a lot of people were taking it, but I just was not comfortable with the level of research that had been done about it.
That first time shimmers in his memory. As the crowd filled the dance floor, speakers boomed out a mix that put a legendary speech to a thunderous beat.
And all of a sudden, Martin Luther King's voice comes in and he speaks this, "I have a dream." And after every single sentence he spoke, where there was a pause in his thought, the whole room erupted in these screams. The whole room, these like primal screams from the belly, like people throwing back their heads. And the sound of 300 people just screaming, "Yes, I believe this." Getting up emotional was absolutely overwhelming. And that moment there, that was just like the truth. That was it. That's what we searched. 300 people being at the same place at the same time, affirming this beautiful vision of humanity.
The moment still echoes in his life. A reminder of ecstasy's power.
Psychologically powerful drugs can be really useful tools for self-discovery, for spiritual connection, if they're respected as such, as something that has that potential.
Critics say ecstasy's spiritual effects are not enough to outweigh the dangers the drug poses to users.
Danger is a word used to mobilize public opinion against the druggies. Danger is a word that, for the drug crowd, entices them. Therefore, danger has two different meanings.
That's making sense. We got another order here.
In online chat rooms and face-to-face conversations, ravers describe how their rituals convey a sublime and overwhelming transcendence. In these halls, disc jockeys serve as techno shamans, refracting the crowd's energy.
I do think people in this community thirst for that original spiritual ritual, and that for a lot of people, that's almost what they're searching for, that reconnection with a community of people. Why I think it's really hard for us to get there is because there's very little shared mythology, shared ideology, shared truths. And I guess on some levels, I'm one of those people who is searching for that.
Coming up, ecstasy users defy threats of jail time to experience the drug's sensations. And later, holding on to their ancient culture, Native Americans travel Mexico's Peyote Trail. After taking ecstasy a few times, James decided raves weren't the place to use the drug. He wanted to have a more intimate experience. Tonight, he's en route to do just that.
We don't have guides. We don't have anyone to help us get the most out of these substances. It seems only in modern Western culture that similar rituals are treated as entertainment. The same ritual without a spiritual foundation, I personally feel, is probably not quite as valuable.
An hour north of Washington, in Baltimore, Maryland, James joins a group creating rituals of its own at the loft of their friend, Rainier. They relax and listen to music.
Hello, welcome.
All are veterans of the rave scene and ecstasy experiences. Tonight, 4 of them will take E. Possession of the drug could mean a year in federal prison. Instead of fretting about jail, though, James and his friends focus on the sensation of the capsules melting on tongues.
My conscience is yelling at me.
MDMA takes effect in about half an hour. The drug spurs brain cells to release serotonin, a body chemical that governs mood, appetite, and sleep patterns. Released in the quantities MDMA triggers, serotonin creates a powerful high that's overtaking James and his friend.
This side is taking E.
You know that when you start gagging, you're about to start rolling, So I start feeling anxious, I start to tingle, and then you just...
Yeah, that's supposed to be with the skin sensation.
Like you weigh 10 pounds. Oh my God.
Taking MDMA, well, it's an all-encompassing experience.
Great vibe, great vibe.
Shh. I swear to you, like, shh. I'm like, okay, the world just kind of took a different slant. I'm a more evolved person.
There is a sense of openness and receptiveness and willingness to accept things for what they are, for people for who they are.
She smiled at me. She's smiling at me. Why did she smile at me? Some people love it. Feeling it, and
You also really can see what is beautiful inside a person.
People by nature are insecure in a lot of ways. What ecstasy was designed for was the purpose of being a tool to remove that insecurity, to remove that inhibition, and to explore things more freely.
But before I did E, I couldn't talk to people like that. I couldn't just go up to people. And that totally helps you become socially evolved.
socially evolved. That's a very good way of putting it.
I love hanging out with you.
That's why I was alive.
Yeah, the definition of that word.
Emotionally, it's a freeing experience. It allows you to look at yourself and other people very objectively.
But what does ecstasy do to someone on a dance floor among hundreds of sweating bodies?
That can be a catalyst for realizing on some level all human beings are locked into the same rhythms. But without anyone to lead the way, you can get lost. And people do get lost.
Well, there are some adventurers who challenge the taboos of their culture and see what's on the other side. All of us do that in some limited way. Some people do it in very dramatic ways. That's one way that cultures grow. So it's a capacity that we want to preserve. On the other hand, it's a way of destroying culture because it destroys the very landmarks of how we put the world together. And so people do that at great peril to themselves socially.
In dismantling the controls society imposes, drug users may see their own lives disintegrate. The data aren't complete, but evidence suggests that E permanently alters the brain, impairing the ability to feel happiness. Users admit the aftermath of taking ecstasy can be depression. Ravers face other risks. Black market pills can contain substances even more dangerous than ecstasy. With no shaman guiding the experience, they could be gulping chemical garbage.
In some cultures, without having a shaman intermediary, the